Where am I? Oh, I'm at a shipwreck, but look, there's two. Hey, if you want to know how to get down to here and you live locally, you never know how to get here, watch this. As long as I stay in front of the sun, this won't happen, look. Whoa. Okay, welcome to my next video. Guys, massive thank you to everyone who's joined my channel recently. Stand by, because there's loads of videos coming. I've got loads of ideas. I've got some photo shoots coming up with models, all that kind of stuff. Loads of landscape stuff. Now today I'm at the shipwreck. A lot of you know I come to shipwreck a lot. It's one of my favourite places to come to. Unfortunately today the tide is out. Look, there's no tide down there, there's nothing down there at all. And we don't have a sky, so long exposure's off. However, there is a second shipwreck. See that other ship behind there? That one there? That's only recently arrived down here, because a few months ago we had some really bad weather, and what happened? That thing got broke loose from its moorings around the corner, sailed its way down here and got stuck in the mud. They've actually moored it up down here now, so it's going to stay there. I don't know how long, but for those of you who've been to my shipwreck photo walk before, there's now something extra to take a picture of. I mean, this shipwreck here, the original one, that is dilapidating a lot. Let me move you around ever so slightly. Look at the end. Down here, look, I don't know if you can see that there. There. That end is going. That's gone pretty much. That's just all over the place. And all through the middle, it's all starting to go. So I don't know how long that's going to be here for. It's leaning over the mast that's usually up a little bit. That has come down a little bit as well. So I don't know how long that's going to be up for. It's not going to take long. So if you want to get pictures of this thing before it goes, you need to get down there pretty soon, I would suspect. However, I'm down here today for a couple of reasons. One is to get a couple of pictures. Two, or something for better weather to be fair. Two, to do a video, because I want to get a video out. But also to do a recce, because I want to start bringing people back down here again. It's been a long time, pre-COVID I think, since I've done a photo walk down here. Now my photo walks are free. If you're local to the area and you don't want to come down here by yourself, you want to come down here with a group of people, go onto my website, there's a link in the description. Have a look at my photo walks page, or your best bet is probably to sign up to my newsletter. Don't worry, you won't be bombarded with loads of emails. You will find that I'm going to do a couple of photo walks very soon down here, try and get people down here as soon as possible before this thing just goes off on one. Anyway, back to the video for today. Now my video today, you'll probably notice from the caption, is about editing and how far you should be taking your landscape photography editing before it's maybe potentially too much. Now remember, this is subjective. What I like is not what other people like. What I do, other people don't like, or they do like, or you like what you like, and that's fine. But I see a lot of pictures go out on social media and around the place. Potentially your editing is maybe a little bit too far. And what I mean by that is you know, there's a certain amount of realism you have to kind of keep in your picture. Tell the story, keep it realistic. If you go too far, it sort of becomes digital art. And now if your editing is a bit over the top slightly, and I'll explain how you can test this later. It kind of detracts from the picture itself. You might tell a good story, but for me, you know, I like to try and keep my editing to a point where it's not too much. We don't lose the sky. We don't lose things. Now, what you got to imagine when I say this, I'm gonna hopefully overlay some pictures, because I'm gonna take some pictures of this in a bit, and I'll hopefully use those images in Lightroom to show you how far potentially I would normally take an image before I then consider it too far. Now, what we're talking about here is a situation where we've got a sunset, which is a little bit more challenging, let's say, than most other times of the day. Now, I tend to say in a lot of my photography when I teach to shoot for the highlights. Now, it's always going to be your sky. During the day, the lightest part of your image is going to be your sky. So you shoot and expose for the sky, and then bring up the shadows in Lightroom. That's kind of the easy one-step approach to getting a balanced image with your editing. Now, some people take this a bit too far, and when you're shooting something like a sunset or a sunrise, you've got some really extreme highlights and some really extreme shadows. Now, if I move out the way of the camera here, look, that is going to show you, and my camera is going to highlight for the sky. You see the sky's nice and blue. It's the same colour that I'm seeing now, but everything down here is really dark. Let me come back in front of the camera there. Now, that was a bike backfiring. That wasn't a gunshot. Don't worry, I'm fine. Okay, now that was loud. And there it goes again. I know. Anyway, so you have to imagine that your camera can't do both. It can't shoot for the highlights and shoot for the shadows. And when we're talking about sunrise or sunset, those become extremes. Now, what people do is they'll take a picture and shoot for the shipwreck as it is now and blur out the sky. Like you see now, you're probably going to find that my camera does a very good job at the dynamic range, probably okay. So you might see a little bit of blue in the sky here now, but it's probably really overexposed potentially. I hope it is anyway. So it proves my point. And you're kind of exposed for all this area, so you can see the detail, although it's blurry because it's focusing on me at the moment. You see the detail here. Now, if I move out of the way, you don't see the detail much anymore. You see the detail in the sky, if there was any detail. But that's the kind of premise of what we're talking about here. So we've got the extremes. We've got really high highlights and really low lights, really low shadows. Now, what you find when someone takes a picture and they edit this, you'll find that very sharp edges and edges around structures, things like the boat top there, if I've got my finger in the right place, the boat top there, it's going to be fairly dark, and the background is going to be fairly light potentially. So where those two meet, you're going to get some chromatic aberration for a start, and then if you over edit it, you're going to get a halo. Now, what I mean by halo, hopefully I'm overlaying some picture here to show you. So if I take the editing too far, you then start getting that really white halo effect around those edges, and you find this a lot with so natural structures like hillsides and potentially a place like Durdle Door, where you've got cliff edges and rock faces, when you've got a really high highlight in the sky, and you should have a really shadowy dark area in the rock face. And in this case, it should be the same. It should be the same. The sky should be exposed for, and you should potentially see quite a bit of darkness in the foreground, which will be the shipwreck and the ship behind. Now, we can bring the shadows up. That's the whole point of this, right? That's what I said earlier on. When we shoot normally, we'll shoot for the highlights, which is the sky, bring the shadows up. But in this case, bringing the shadows up may mean to get the detail back, you've got to bring the shadows really far. Now, by doing that, you start introducing those white marks or the white kind of halo effect around those structures that meet the highlights. So the dark areas that should be dark, you bring up the shadows too much and you start getting a white halo. Go back through some of your images. You may see this in some of your images. Look closely. I know I've done this in the past, but that's why I consider it to be just slightly too far. Come back a little bit with a shadow slider, and hopefully you won't get that. You'll still get some of the detail in the shadowy areas, and the image should look okay, but it won't have that white halo around everything, around the tops of, well, you might see the tree line at the back here. So that is what I mean by taking your editing maybe potentially a little bit too far. Now, what can you do about this to alleviate that problem completely? Bracket. Do a HDR image. Take 3 images. Take an image for the midtones, take an image for the highlights, and take an image for the shadows, which will be your foreground. Most camera systems have a way of bracketing. I've got a video somewhere that I did a few years ago on my channel. I'll try and dig a link out for that and put it in the description, hopefully, so you'll see what I mean by bracketing. So put your camera into a mode where it takes 3 images. It will take an image for your midtones, image for your highlights, image for your shadows, and then in Lightroom, and I'm going to show you this now because I'm going to do a bracketed image, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to overlay how you do it in Lightroom. One click in Lightroom, boom, that'll give you your highlights, your shadows, and your midtones in one image. And then when you use those sliders, you can actually take them a little bit further, or you may not need to take them that far at all, because you should have a good amount of detail in the highlights, a good amount of detail in the shadows. Boom, and that's it. So that's all this video is going to be about, really. Just trying to keep it simple. Don't over edit. Don't find those halos. And by the way, you do get some dark halos around light structures if you do it the other way around. So if you overuse the highlight slider in Lightroom, you overuse that, you will get dark halos around those light subjects. I can't show you that in this case because that's not what I'm going to be set up for here, but that will happen too. So look out for those if you've got any light subjects that have sharp edges against a dark background. Have a look for that. Okay, guys and girls, thank you for watching. This video has been brought to you by me, Andy Hornby. I'm so happy that my YouTube channel has kicked off again. I'm now at 27,000, which is pretty freaking amazing, to be honest with you. I don't even know what to say. But thank you to everyone who's joined recently. Thank you to those who've been with me a long time. Let me know in the comments if you've been with me for a good amount of time. It's good to know that I've had followers, and I still have followers that watch my video from a long time ago. It'd be good to say hello. And if you've got any questions about this subject, please whack them in the comments. Always happy to answer questions. If you got anything out of this video, please whack a thumbs up. And consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. Hit that notification bell so you get updates every time I upload a new video. I'm going to have some pretty awesome videos coming up soon. I'm arranging a photo shoot with a model for a sunrise photo shoot with a model. That should be pretty good. I should have video of that too, so look out for that. And I hope to see you guys and girls watching another video very soon. Take it easy. I'm going to go and set up now for this shot and get a couple of pictures before the sun does go down. I might even move on down the other end there and get some pictures of one of my favourite structures, which is that crane. Look at that. Let me come out of the way so you can see it properly. Look at that. She's beautiful. Anyway, thanks very much. See you again soon. I'm out. Bye.